Well, I think that email is social media. It's a really conversational way of communicating with people, and it's a really high value for activism and organising, because while Facebook and Twitter and other social media outlets kind of limit what you can say to 140 characters or thereabouts, you can really get across quite a narrative with an email and explain to people quite a complicated political situation, how they can make a difference, and give them some information on what to say when they call their politician, or what impact their donation will make.
So it's more due to the nature of the work that you guys are doing?
Yeah, it's email is a social medium, which is good for communicating more complicated things and driving people to take action, and it's also really great for having old-fashioned reply conversation. We still receive replies from people about emails and tell me that I've made a grammatical mistake, or suggest a new campaign, and email's really good for that. Absolutely, social media is a really great tool for any social movement to be using. It's important that you say enhancing, because that's what it does. It enhances something that already exists. It makes it easier for us to communicate with a lot of people. It's not clear whether it's effective by itself, but in augmenting existing campaigns, it's really, really helpful. Yeah, I mean, Australia is kind of one example of how social media amplifies social movements, is that it enables us to do things very, very quickly. Getup members can respond in 24 hours to something that happens in the news, and within a day have a TV advertisement, which is we're able to fundraise for and put on air, and we can move very, very quickly with a large number of people. But of course, you can see elsewhere in the world, social media has made a huge impact in other ways, particularly in areas where traditional media falls down or doesn't exist, and the fourth estate kind of fails. Social media steps in. I think that they can. The often Twitter in particular is criticised for being 140 characters, which is hard to get anything substantive across. But that's it's a medium of making the first engagement, which leads to more. The best social media campaigns are always using Twitter and Facebook and email to link to something broader, whether it's an advertising campaign or get-togethers on the ground, as Getup members do. It's an entree to something else. Well, Malcolm Gladwell comes from the kind of old school of organising, which has so much to offer us, and he, in his articles about social media and activism, points out that the social movements of the 60s and 70s didn't have these tools at their disposal, and yet they still organised, high-risk activities, and they chained themselves to fences, and they marched in the streets and so forth. But those movements used every tool that they had at their disposal, and they were constantly striving for innovative new tools to help them with their mission. And the same movements are doing the same thing now, and social media is one of those innovative new tools. And it does help high-risk activism, because, for example, you can see in the recent protests across the Middle East and Egypt, was an organising model which replicated the model of the internet, which is a kind of decentralised, leaderless or low leader kind of model of organising. And the fact of the knowledge that you are part of 5,000 people who are coming out into the street rather than 5 people who are coming out into the street emboldens people to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. Look, I still think that the email is the most important social media tool out there. If you ask me again in 3 years, maybe that'll be different. But I think that social change requires people who are informed and have an understanding of strategy, and having a detailed email conversation where you can outline that and give people not only the moment but also the movement that they're part of means that email is still the most important